Hello, my friends. In today's video, I wanted to share with you my top 10 favorite fragrances to burn in the months of September and October, which to me is fall. I know November is technically still fall, but by then that's a whole different category because I feel like that's more like by then I'm transitioning from fall into holiday fragrances. But today I thought it would just be fun to just go through my collection, think about candles that I have burned throughout the years, and just narrow it down and say, if you did not review candles on YouTube, if somebody told you, hey, you could only pick 10 candles to burn during these 2 months, which ones would make the cut? So if you are curious to see my thoughts, make sure that you keep watching. A quick welcome to any new viewers. Hi, my name is Katie. I like to talk about home fragrance and a little bit of beauty here on my channel. So if that sounds like content that you would be interested in, please make sure you hit that subscribe button before you get on out of here. I am a brand ambassador for a couple of these brands, and I will make sure that I have my discount code linked in the description box down below if you are curious about any of these candles. You know, some of them are from brands that I don't have any affiliation with. And honestly, I was purchasing a lot of these brands before I even became an ambassador or an affiliate with them. So yeah, I think that that says quite a bit about each one of these brands. I also wanted to make sure, with the exception of one candle in here, all of these are fragrances that are currently available, like you would be able to purchase them this season. One I haven't seen yet, but I have seen it come back year after year, so I'm hoping that it will show up quickly. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and talk about these fragrances. The first fragrance that I would purchase over and over again, you saw me talk about this one in my September favorites video. This is Kringle Candles Autumn Amber. Now, I said in that video, and I still hold fast to this, that this is a candle that I feel like nobody ever talks about. It's completely under the radar, and yet, oh my goodness, it is so good. This smells a lot like, and so I would say that if you cannot get your hands on this one, the comp I have for it, it's not a dupe, but the comparable candle I would say is Bath & Body Works Autumn. It's that fresh air, but not like pine or forest type of fresh air. There's some apple. It's that crispness as the temperatures start to change. Oh, this one is so good. You get a little bit of that sweetness of the apple, but it's not sweet like an apple cider. It's just so good. I don't have the fragrance notes listed here for it, but if you want to check it out on Kringle's website, you're more than welcome to do that. Now, the reason I give my edge to this fragrance instead of Bath & Body Works Autumn is because you guys know I have been very vocal about this, that Bath & Body Works, their performance has been very inconsistent for me. Sometimes I get great performance and the candle burns all the way down. Other times I get great strength and throw, but then the wicks get puny wick syndrome about halfway through the burn. Other times it's a great burn, or like the candle smells beautiful, but then I get soot everywhere. So that I don't have those issues with Kringle. They seem to be very consistent across the board. This soy wax burns very cleanly. So this is one of the picks that I knew right away. I was like, yep, that one's making the cut. Another fragrance that I would repurchase over and over again, and this was a new launch from HOMEWORX this year. It was a new fragrance from HOMEWORX. This is Palo Santo Pumpkin. Now, the fragrance notes on this one are Palo Santo, pumpkin puree, cinnamon stick, and suede wood. This is a really nice fragrance. You get a tinge of that pumpkin note, but this to my nose is more so like a there's a smokiness to this without it being like campfire smoky. That's the only way that I can describe it. The Palo Santo wood is pretty much the most dominant note in this one. It's resinous, it's earthy without being like dirty hippie earthy. This one is just really good. This has been a fragrance that I have really enjoyed burning in the evenings for my home. My husband loves this fragrance. It is one that I definitely plan on purchasing another one because as you can see, I am actually almost done with this one. This is a wonderful fragrance that I would want to make sure that I have in my collection year after year. This one, if you want a little bit more of that pumpkin note to come out, you can blend it with another one of your favorite like creamy pumpkin fragrances. I'm thinking like sugar pumpkins from Kringle, or maybe like a white pumpkin fragrance from Bath & Body Works. This one pairs really nicely with those. Sticking with HOMEWORX, another favorite year after year for me now. I think this is probably the third or fourth year that I have purchased this fragrance, Harvest Leaves. Now there's a reason why this one seems to show up in a lot of people's fall favorites. The fragrance notes are spiced pumpkin, mandarin, cranberry, fir balsam, and apple wood. Now the cranberry note is most dominant to my nose on this one. I get a little bit of that pumpkin in the background. There are like there's like an autumnal leaf type of fragrance to it, but it's not as strong, I guess, or like headache inducing as say like, I don't know, Bath & Body Works leaves or something like that. This is just such a beautiful fragrance. It's not necessarily gourmand, it's not necessarily outdoor woodsy, but it's a fragrance that works well pretty much September, October, even going into November. This is a great fragrance. So this is one that I would always want to have in my fall lineup. Let's talk about another Kringle candle. Now this is a new release this year in their fall lineup. However, it's very comparable to a favorite candle that I had at Bath & Body Works. This is Leaf Peeper. Now, particularly, I love it in this 3-wick. I mean, the painted jar on here is absolutely beautiful. The fragrance notes on Leaf Peeper are dewy greens, crisp green apple, peach slices, clove, cinnamon, autumn acorns, lakeside woods, tonka bean, and musk. So we have a lot of accords listed there. If you watch candle YouTube a lot, you will know that pretty much all of us have said this is pretty much a toned down version of Bath & Body Works Leaves. It's not as headache inducing, I feel like. I know that that's pretty much been like a problem. I'm using the term pretty much, I'm sorry. That has been commonly stated that is a fragrance that can be so strong sometimes that many people can only burn it for about 2 hours and then they have to extinguish the flames because it's just too strong. This one I find that you can burn a little bit longer. It's not as intense. It is still smellable. I mean, you can smell it in your home, but it's just not going to smack you in your face. And I also love the jar design on this. I know I said that already, but this is a fragrance that I will burn year in, year out. I know that that's one of my husband's favorites. In fact, it's funny, I was burning it the other day and my husband said, oh, now it feels like fall. And I'm like, it's because of that candle, huh? He's like, yep, you burn that one every single year. Let's talk about a candle that I actually don't currently have in my collection, but it is one that, again, if somebody were to ask me, hey, you know, what 10 fragrances would you recommend? It is a candle from Yankee Candle, and it's an old standby. It's a classic. It's been around for years and years, but I love Yankee Candle's Spiced Pumpkin. Now, again, I don't have it in my collection right now just because, quite frankly, as a reviewer, I have a lot of candles in my collection. Some of them are sent to me in PR, but quite a few of them I still have to purchase with my family's own money, and so I have to use a little bit more discretion. But because I'm always having to maybe look at purchasing new candles for review, I don't always necessarily get to purchase the candles that I don't want to say it's not that I don't get to, it's just that sometimes I prioritize purchasing the new candles because I know that other people want to have opinions about it and I also am curious about them. And then so sometimes candles that I love don't always make it into my collection every single season. But that is a fragrance that, especially for a lot of my friends who are pretty much only familiar with Yankee, or they're available in a lot of places. If they were to ask me, hey, which one would you pick up for a fall fragrance? I would highly recommend Yankee Candle's Spiced Pumpkin. It's just like a pumpkin note. There's some pretty much like basic spices mixed with it, but it's not overly spicy and it's not overly pumpkin-y. I feel like it's just a beautiful blend. All right, let's talk about another fragrance that I love from HOMEWORX. And this is actually one that is part of their Halloween collection. Now, you guys know I'm not your girl for Halloween. I don't celebrate the holiday. I don't like it. Just being honest, I've never really liked the holiday. However, this is a fragrance that I picked up last year in 2022 because the fragrance notes were intriguing to me and I didn't find the label to be too creepy. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. I purchased it last year, and last year's version, we all know, HOMEWORX in 2022 had a rough year. I loved the fragrance, but it was super light for me. Well, this year, HOMEWORX sent it to me in PR, and I was so glad because I was like, oh, I really liked that fragrance last year, and I was glad to have it again. And I've just concluded that I burned through an entire one. You probably saw this in my empties video. I burned through this entire candle in 1 week because I love the fragrance that much. It is Midnight Moon. So the fragrance notes on Midnight Moon are autumn leaves, fresh pumpkin, dark woods, and ginger crystals. Now, I want to say that burning it this year, I feel like because it was stronger for me, I got a better consensus as to what I think this candle smells like. This candle to me smells a lot like if Bath & Body Works leaves or like Kringle's leaf peeper got together and had a baby with HOMEWORX Pumpkin Woods. For those of you who remember that fragrance, I haven't seen it return this year. I don't know if it's going to. Quite frankly, I doubt it will at this point. Who knows? It might, or it might show up in any of the discount retailers. But if you took the elements of Pumpkin Woods and mixed it with leaves or leaf peeper, that's what I smell in this candle. It's a beautiful fragrance. You get kind of that outdoor woodsy vibe, but there's also like I don't want to say a smokiness, but there's like a deeper vibe to this that's kind of woodsy without it being masculine or cologne-like. You get a little tinge of that pumpkin in the background, but this one is really, really good. I love it. And also, oddly enough, I actually like this label when it's lit up. It's really, really pretty. I don't really smell ginger in there so much, but like whatever accords they're using for those autumn leaves and that dark woods, kind of like the autumn leaves that they're using in the harvest leaves type of blend, it's beautiful. But yeah, this time when I was burning it, especially the last couple of days, I actually just finished that one up. That's what I thought of. I thought, oh, that's what candle it reminds me of. Pumpkin woods with a little bit of leaves, get them together. That's their baby right there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about a Bath & Body Works candle, shall we? This is a candle that I feel like this one was renamed because this is a fragrance that I personally remember purchasing. Goodness, it's got to be at least 10 years ago. And I feel like it was initially released as the fragrance Pumpkin Patch. And then I feel like it went away for a year or two. And now it has come back in recent years under the name Pumpkin Carving. Now this is the 2023 packaging. I mean, I could take it or leave it. I would rather just have like a regular pumpkin. Can't he be like nice and not scary looking? But oh well. Pumpkin Carving, the fragrance notes on it are freshly carved pumpkin, spiced pumpkin seeds, smooth brown sugar. I love this fragrance. Now, this is one that I could also see getting very powerful very quickly. It can do that. I haven't lit this year's version yet, so I don't know how strong it is, the strength and throw, but I do know that every season when fall approaches, I know that I want this fragrance in my collection. I just love this pumpkin scent. There's pumpkin. It's not like pumpkin pie pumpkin. I do get the sweetness of brown sugar in there. It's not a creamy pumpkin. It's slightly, what do they say, spiced pumpkin seeds. So there is like a little bit of spice to it, but it's not as spicy as say the new pumpkin buns candle that just came out from Kringle. It's not spicy in that element, but oh, I just love that one. And I have loved it year after year after year. All right, I'm looking at my list here. I'm looking at what I have in front of me. All right, another candle from Bath & Body Works that I like, and it's funny, this one is not your traditional fall type of candle, but every once in a while, I want to just stray away from the leafy scents or the apple scents or the pumpkin scents. Sometimes I just want something a little bit different, just get it back to basics. And of course, this is a candle that I discovered earlier this year, a couple of months ago. You guys know it's going to be in my top 10 candles of the year, and that would be coffee and whiskey. The fragrance notes on coffee and whiskey are bold Irish whiskey, splash of vanilla, hint of coffee. Again, this is another one The vanilla note in here is very similar to the vanilla note that they use in the vanilla and musk type of candle. It's a creamy vanilla. There's sweetness to it, almost like a marshmallow type of note. I get a little bit of that, not really the booziness of whiskey in here. There's sweetness though, like a sweetness that you would get out of a whiskey in here. And the coffee note it's not overly bold coffee. Not as bold as, say, the coffee note in, what was it? Was it the lavender and espresso, pink lavender and espresso note? Like that one was a little bit stronger coffee note in it, but I feel like it's the same coffee note that they're using. It's just toned down a little bit more in this. I love, love, love this fragrance. I will caution you that this one's my second one. I haven't burned it yet. My first one did burn pretty dirty for me. I mean, it burned well, but it got sooty very easily. But this is a fragrance that I definitely always want to have in my collection. I typically like to burn it on, again, the evening time. It's just kind of a nice change up from all of the pumpkin and everything. All right, and my last fragrance that I have here, let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I talked about that one. I talked about, oh, no, I have 2 more. Okay, see, that's why I had to go over there. All right, another fragrance that I don't have in my collection at the moment, but I am currently searching for it out in the wild. I have not seen it yet. My nearest Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, is finally starting to get some HOMEWORX candles into their stores. They have been so disappointing up to this point, but they're finally starting to show up. And this one did just return to the Slatkin & Co. website. However, I am hoping that I can find it out in the wild, and if not, I will go ahead and repurchase it when I place my next HOMEWORX order. But this is the fragrance Autumn Pumpkin. Now, I should have pulled out the other candle. Do I have it right here? You know what? Give me just a minute. All right, the reason I know that I have the fragrance notes for Autumn Pumpkin is because I have another candle that was accidentally mislabeled with the notes. This one is not one of my top 10, Autumn Pine Cone. I like it, but it's not one of my top 10. But I purchased it at TJ Maxx, I think, and it has the wrong fragrance notes. It actually has the Autumn Pumpkin fragrance notes on it. Autumn Pumpkin fragrance notes are pumpkin, orange, cardamom, cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. And again, it's just another beautiful pumpkin type of fragrance with some of those fragrance notes. It reminds me slightly of pumpkin carving, but much more toned down. It's not as smack you in the face. Pumpkin carving can be very, you know, I feel like Bath & Body Works candles in general are kind of known for being that way. I mean, every once in a while you get some that don't perform very well, but I think part of the popularity with Bath & Body Works is the fact that most of the time, my experience has been that they are smack you in the face type of candles. Autumn Pumpkin is not as smack you in the face, but it's still a very, very nice pumpkin fragrance. There's a little bit of spice to it, but just a nice, good pumpkin fragrance. I am hoping I can find that one out in the wild, but if not, I will be adding it to my next HOMEWORX order. All right, now we are at my last fragrance, and this is the one that I have a little bit of a caveat with because I have not seen it come back yet this year. And I don't know if it's going to. I hope it's just maybe a little bit delayed. But my last favorite fragrance for the fall is Bath & Body Works Cider Lane. Now, I can't remember if I saw it last year. I feel like I did see it last year. The last few years, I feel like it has been an online exclusive. It wasn't one that I saw in store, but I absolutely love that fragrance. You've got some of that like brown sugar note. The apple note that I detect in there is very similar to the same one that they use in Summer Boardwalk. It's kind of like that caramelized apple type of fragrance, but there's a sweetness with cider in it. It's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Now, my substitution for that fragrance, and I wouldn't say that they are the exact same candle, but they share a similar vibe, would be Kringle Candles Apple Cider Donut. I am actually burning that right now as I film here for you. And that gives off the same vibe. I don't get a donut note really from that fragrance. I do get that cider apple. There's a little bit of that brown sugar and the butter and the caramel. It's very sweet, but not overly sweet and cloying. That is another candle that I would highly recommend if you happen to see it, you know, in any of your stores or come online, or if you're wanting a similar vibe and it doesn't come back, then I would go ahead and point you to Kringle Candles Apple Cider Donut. So those are my top 10 fall fragrances. I would love it if you would like to share with me in the comment box down below, maybe your top top 3 fragrances of all time. Like if somebody said you could only pick these 3 fragrances, which ones would you pick? I love when we share that in our candle community. It gives me a good idea also for, you know, my viewers, what kind of candles are they vibing with? I think scent is such a personal thing, and all of us, you know, we all have our own favorite preferences, but it's always good, I think, when we're here on this platform to be able to share our opinions about what we like most, because there may be people who enjoy the same types of things and people who enjoy different things, but it gives us all just better knowledge as we are going out and making purchases. So again, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate you taking your time to be here with me today. And until my next video, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.